is the Sidekick Jr from Crazy Tube Circuits. And it's a pedal that has reverb, echo delay, as well as modulation. But not only those three things together, but you're able to dig into so many extra features within each different column itself and really be able to choose so many different sounds within it to either work independently or together. That's now in a very compact and pedal board friendly size. So back in 2019, Crazy Tube Circuits came out with the Sidekick, the killer all-in-one pedal that had a reverb, delay, and modulation on it that I absolutely fell in love with. This was just such a really cool and just genius pedal idea where you could go ahead and choose exactly what effects you wanted, how to combine them, and all these different features on top of it. But now with the Sidekick Jr, they get all of basically the exact same features, but now in a much smaller and compact size. And I honestly have to say that it being this smaller compact form makes a humongous difference and really entices me even more now. But before we dig into the Sidekick Jr, and for the sake of transparency, this video is sponsored by Crazy Tube Circuits, but of course, as with any other sponsored content on my channel, that has no effect or sway at all in anything that I say, do, any of the playing, or any of the sound clips in this video at all. I'm just a bass player who loves trying out different things to see what they sound like. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. So just like the regular Sidekick, this is split into three separate sections: reverb, echo delay, and finally modulation. One of the biggest differences you might notice off the bat is that it only has 2 foot switches instead of 3, and that's kind of okay in my book. For your foot switches on the left side, you'll see that it says reverb plus mod, and then on the right it's delay plus mod. So basically this means that with using the left foot switch, you turn on the reverb, then using the right foot switch, you turn on the delay, and you're able to actually choose whether you want the modulation to go to one or the other channels when it's activated. And on top of that too, there's this cool and extremely cute matching external foot switch to be able to turn on the modulation by itself. But I sort of found that having only 2 foot switches instead of 3 led to much more creativity in my opinion. I thought it was really cool that you can have one channel that had the modulation on and one channel that didn't. So say you're playing something with the delay side only, but then you kick on that reverb side that has the modulation added to it for a humongous and just beautiful soundscape. I think that's just so cool and so fun. So going with the controls, I'm just gonna do this section by section, starting with the reverb side. You have 2 knobs, a 3-way toggle switch, as well as 1 button. Starting with the knobs, first of all, you have mix, which lets you blend in how much of that reverb effect you want in your overall signal. Then Excite actually controls different parameters for each of the 6 reverb algorithms. Yes, there are 6 separate kinds of reverbs on this tiny pedal, and that's so awesome to me. So those 6 different reverb types are split into 2 separate banks, Bank A and Bank B. So basically you have your 3-way toggle switch to switch between 1, 2, and 3, with each side being able to have Bank A on the top, Bank B on the bottom, essentially controlled by that little button at the bottom. Bank A has plate, spring, and hall, and then Bank B is where it gets kind of weird and super fun in my opinion. You have gated, exciter, and shimmer. So that excite knob controls different parameters for each of the 6 different reverbs, which is so rad to me. So with that excite knob on the plate side, you're able to control size and damping. Spring, you're able to control dwell and tone. Hall, you can adjust size and tone. Gated can adjust decay and damping. Exciter can adjust decay and the pre-delay and tone. And then shimmer finally adjusts the decay and octave mix. Then moving on to the controls on the delay side, you have 3 knobs and 1 button. First of all, more controls the actual volume of the echo and delay. Tail adjusts the feedback of the delay and echo repeats. Then time adjusts the actual time of the delay from 40 milliseconds to 800 milliseconds. And then finally, that button on the bottom lets you select between either the sweet tape echo or the clear digital delay. And then finally, for the controls on the modulation side, you have 2 knobs and 2 3-way toggle switches. Your knobs are depth, which lets you control the actual depth of whichever modulation that you're going for. The 3-way toggle switch under that lets you choose between your 3 different modulation types, between that nice classic warm chorus, a very mild and coarse sounding flanger, and then a sophisticated dimension enhancer, which is sort of like a different kind of chorus, if that makes any sense at all. Then you have your speed knob, which lets you adjust the actual rate of the modulation. And then finally, you're able to assign where you want the modulation to go. Either go with only the external switch or have it go to the reverb side or the delay side. So for the pros on the Sidekick Jr, first of all, straight up, it sounds absolutely killer. I love experimenting with not only the echo and delay sounds, but the reverb with that shimmer effect is so nice. Then adding the modulation on top of it too is just the cake on top of it. And it's one of those things where again, you're able to really get creative and experiment with different things with all these crazy different sounds, and it's so much fun. And of course, because of its smaller size, it's much more feasible for you to be able to put it on a regular pedal board. For the cons, I know some people probably really will not like at all that you have to have an external foot switch to be able to turn on the modulation side by itself. Then on top of that too, I bet there's going to be a lot of people that don't like that the flanger sound isn't a traditional flanger sound. Me personally, I don't really care because I'm much more of a chorus person myself, but it would have been fun for it to be a more traditional flanger sound, I will say. But overall for the Sidekick Jr, this is just such an incredibly killer, fun, and insanely creative pedal to have to your arsenal. Something where you're able to really experiment, get some weird, crazy sounds, or have it just subtle in the background of whatever you're playing to is a really good option. But of course, let me know what you guys think about the Sidekick Jr and what other weird, fun, experimental pedals I should be checking out. Thank y'all so much for watching, as always, for watching, subscribing, commenting, sharing my videos, follow me on social media, all that crazy stuff. I truly do appreciate it, y'all. And of course, a humongous thank you to my Patreon supporters right over here. Mwah, mwah. If you want to be like one of these beautiful people right here and help support the channel every single month, then go ahead and head on over to my Patreon page. But y'all, thank you again so much for watching, as always. And of course, no matter where in the world you are, stay safe, practice that bass, have fun with some weird time-based effects, because reverb, delay, modulation, putting them all together is so much fun. And I'll see y'all next time.